Present.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I will call to order the organizational meeting of the Glendale City Council for April 18th, 2011. May we have the roll call, please?
Council members: Draymond.
Here.
Friedman.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Mayor Najarian.
Here. Councilmember Weaver, would you lead us in the flag salute, please?
Stand over your heart and follow me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the invocation. Every election allows us to turn a new page. Sometimes the narrative continues, and other times a new one begins. During the spring season, when we celebrate new beginnings and renewal, we mark also important holidays, which also highlight new beginnings, and I have in mind Easter and Passover. In Meditations, Divine and Moral, Anne Bradstreet, the 17th century poet, wrote, quote, "If we had no winter, the spring would not be so pleasant. If we did not sometimes taste of adversity, prosperity would not be so welcome," end quote. With the sunset of this campaign season, let us pray for new light and fresh beginnings for all as we assemble this evening to reorganize and select a new mayor to guide these meetings and be the face of our city to our neighbors and beyond. We pray that our incoming council will lead honorably, with integrity, and with compassion, that they are guided by truth and led along the path of goodwill towards all. We pray they work for the benefit of all of Glendale, and remember that we are judged not by how we treat our most active and engaged citizens, but also our most meek. Pray for the success of this council in our schools and our college. We pray for all our leaders. May they make us proud and uplift our community through leadership and representing the highest ideals and values of this great nation. Amen.
May we have your report, please?
The agenda for the organizational meeting of the April 18, 2011 was posted on Thursday, April 14, 2011 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is the mayor's welcome.
Well, welcome everyone to our biannual Monday meeting. Oh, actually, it is
annual.
Yeah. It is an annual meeting, right? But doesn't always fall after an election, so we're not always bringing in new council members or getting the results of the canvass. But what a wonderful group we have in here today. Those of you at home that can't see the chambers, it's filled with members of our community, involved members, some a long time, some newly involved. From all walks of life and all parts of the city, and what better place for them all to come together than the center of our local government, where the rubber hits the road and the sausage is made and we yell at each other and laugh with each other. Sometimes we cry, sometimes we jump for joy, but this is the way we do it here in Glendale: orderly, progressively. And it's an important meeting to have. I'm happy you're all here, and I want everyone at home to know that there's no finer representation of the entire city of Glendale than we have on this dais, on the front row, and throughout the room. So welcome to you all, especially the newcomers to Glendale City Hall. Let this not be a strange place for you. Many residents have found this to be their second home. I'm not looking at you, Margaret. But it's a great place to express your ideas and have a sounding board and let us know how you really feel. So let this not be your only visit to Glendale City Hall. Next item, please.
Next item is oral communication. Discussion is limited to items not part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes, and council may question or respond to a speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. City manager may refer the matter to the appropriate department for an investigation and report.
I thought this was a misprint, but is this correct? Is there oral
It
communication?
is correct, Mr. Mayor. It's considered and it has been treated traditionally as a regular meeting. Might I make a recommendation to the mayor within your prerogative, if you would like, that oral communications apply to every item of business and non-business at this time?
Therefore, a speaker may address council only once then.
That's correct.
And on a combined subjects.
Yes.
For the 5-minute period of
Can
time.
use their period of time for anything but once.
Okay, that's. I don't think there'll be any objection to that from the dais at least. So, in other words, those of you who would like to speak, is there a particular item that you intended to speak and turn your card in at a later date? Please turn them in now. We're going to take all the speakers during this portion of the agenda, oral communications. I have 2 cards submitted so far. First is Richard Espiritu, followed by Herbert Milano.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council and staff. I am Richard Espiritu. I'm not going to take up my 5 minutes, but I'd like to congratulate all the members of the election who won, both the City Council, the Board of Education, and the school district. I do want to tell you one thing. There's some very strong storm clouds gathering over Falls Church, Virginia. They're coming this way. And I hope the new council and the new mayor will be prepared for it. Thank you very much.
Tornadoes.
Herbert Milano is next. I want to ask the question, but we'll do that for another time, of course.
Mayor Najarian, members of the City Council, City staff, my name is Herbert Molano. Every 2 years, the voters of the city look towards the reorganization meeting, often as the beginning of a new direction. But along with them, stakeholders, businessmen, taxpayers, ratepayers, and residents who don't have the right to vote also look towards this event as a significant step in an improvement of their quality of life. But this year, as a new city council takes over, as a new school board takes over, and new elected officials must be willing to face a daunting task that you all face, and that is in correcting the financial problems that all of these governmental entities face, and make the truly tough decisions. After the oath of office, a new city council must choose a mayor willing to set an agenda to tackle these problems head on and be willing to step up to do something even more significant. And that is to heal a city that is demonstrably divided among ethnic lines. Good luck to you and good luck to the city of Glendale.
Thank you. I have no other cards. And again, just as a reminder, if there was anyone who wanted to address the council or the new council on any item on the agenda, now is the time to submit a card. If not, we will close oral communications. Next item, please.
Next item is under new business, item 4, City Clerk regarding report on election and canvass. At A1, 4A1 is a resolution of the canvass of the vote of the general municipal election held on Tuesday, April 5th, 2011, including Measure S.
Mr. Clerk.
Well, Honorable Mayor, members of City Council, distinguished guests, city staff, friends, and neighbors, today we are gathered in council chambers to swear into office to this council the individuals whom the voters of Glendale selected when they went to the polls on April 5th. This evening is the manifestation of the exercise in which citizens engaged in on Election Day as a way of preserving the democratic process. As citizens and stakeholders of our great city, we witnessed over 24,000 people participate in this particular election. As most cities in the region experienced declines in voter participation, our electorate remained informed, engaged, and eventually made its voice heard at the ballot box. With over 24.4% voter turnout, we exceeded the participation of neighboring cities by a significant margin. And although we may be pleased, we must not be satisfied by any means. We should not be satisfied until every citizen exercises their constitutional right to vote. But there are other points for which we must be proud. Our public school students were a tremendous part of this election. Where in the past we have had no more than a dozen or so student poll workers, this year we launched an ambitious campaign to recruit students from our schools, our local high schools and community college to work at the polls. I'm proud to say that over 66 students participated, comprising more than 20% of the polling location clerks this year. These were students, many of them who could not yet vote, but who saw the importance of this day and through their experience have moved one step closer to being lifelong participants in this electoral process. Most significant was the fact that this year the election fell on the same day as spring break, and while many of them could have been doing any number of things on their break, they chose instead to work the polling locations throughout the city. Special thanks to the teachers and staff at Clark Magnet High School, Glendale High School, and Crescenta Valley High School. We hope that with your encouragement, we can make this program expand to all high schools, public and private, in our city, because although our students may comprise 30% of our community, they are 100% of our future. We continued the successful use of our city's designated elections website, glendalevotes.org, and expanded to other forms of online media communication using such tools as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter to distribute and advertise information about elections. Our site was the most frequently visited site leading up to Election Day on the city's website and went further than any site in our region in providing up-to-date and accurate information on all the happenings related to the elections. Through the interactive election tracker and the assistance and guidance of the Rose Institute at Claremont McKenna College, we gave residents in Glendale a perspective into the vote tabulation process that had never been available before and that we hope to continue doing. There were many successes that we can continue to list, but to do so without thanking the staff from every single department throughout the city who helped with their time and energy would be inappropriate. It would take too long to list everyone, but when I say that every department in the city was represented in this effort, I do mean every single department. So I would like to thank them at this time and look forward to working with them in the future. Lastly, I wish to remind everyone that tonight is an opportunity to rededicate ourselves to this proposition that every citizen, regardless of whether they were born on our shores or came here seeking the blessings of liberty and freedom, has an opportunity to be heard through their vote. We must strive to make the ballot box accessible to all citizens, no matter they choose to vote at the polls or do so from their home. When aspersions are cast upon the organizing and implementation of the electoral process, the only thing that is hurt is the process itself and the people's faith in it. When seeds of divisiveness are planted in our community's garden, it is every citizen's duty to uproot them and cast them upon the heap of the discredit and misinformation. Governing and being governed is a two-way street. It is our responsibility to engage in vigorous discourse, but temper it with respect for those engaged in the dialogue of civic affairs and the forum within which it takes place. It is too easy for us to ignore our civic duties and expect it to be carried out by our neighbor or the next person. The responsibility of preserving a democratic society must not be deferred, but the cause should be taken up by all, regardless of age, religion, background, or status. I know you share this sentiment and look forward to working with you in the coming years on continuing to improve our processes and ensuring that more people vote. I'm grateful today to say that the city clerk staff worked tirelessly to put on this election, and I submit this report of the canvass of the election results for your approval.
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Kasakian, and as you said, all the departments that were involved, and the election team, and all the volunteers, and everyone in the community that saw fit to make this an involved election. And we need a motion to accept the resolution.
4A1, yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
There are no other comments. We'll take roll call.
Council members Draymond,
Yes.
Friedman,
Yes.
Quintero,
Yes.
Weaver,
Aye.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. Next item, please.
Next item would be the oath of office to the Glendale Community College Board of Trustees, and also the recognition of the newly elected members of the Glendale Unified School District who were sworn in earlier in the day. I should note that because there was going to be an absence by one of the newly elected council members of the Community College Board of Trustees, they were both sworn in this morning, and earlier this afternoon I was invited to the Glendale Unified School District boardroom to swear in the newly elected school board members, and I believe I saw at least one of them here today who would like to address the council. It's school board member-elect Nairina Habedian.
It's been a busy day for you, Mr. Kasakian. Do you do weddings too, or?
Yes, the better question is, do you do bar mitzvahs?
Why not?
Let's then invite to come forward, and we can take this with item 6 as well, the newly re-elected member of the Glendale Unified School District.
I can't tell you how pleased I am to be here tonight. Mr. Weaver, congratulations. And Mr. Manukian, where are you? Congratulations as well. And I'd like to thank Councilmember Friedman for her support in my reelection. And it is a terrific day. We had our swearing in earlier at City Hall, rather at our school board. And we are looking forward to, and I am personally looking forward to, a wonderful future relationship with the City Council, a continued relationship as we have had for many decades, and that is what we will continue to do with the new City Council members and the new mayor. And on the behalf of school board, really we are thrilled to have the opportunity to work hand in hand with the City Council on many things that we are committed to similarly in the city. On my behalf, I want to have a long list of people that I thanked at the Board of Education meeting, and very quickly I would like to thank them again here at this opportunity, which is Congressman Schiff, Senator Carol Liu, and Assemblymember Portantino, who are advocates of public education, and also Councilmember Laura Friedman, as well as north of us in La Crescenta, lots of support that I was very, very pleased to receive, including Dr. Su, including President Chang Lee and Mr. James Park, and looking forward to a long-term relationship with them as well. Really, we had more than 20 coffees at different people's homes in order to get the word out, and we are very, very pleased with the outcome of the results, and very honored and very humbled by the support that I've received all across Glendale and all across La Crescenta, and look forward to working together in the future. I want to thank my treasurer, who I see in the audience, Tallinn, and I want to thank my campaign team, Leo and Art and Stephen Ferguson, and my cousin Tamar, and want to extend my thank you to my family, my parents, without whom I would not be able to have really served in the capacity that I have. So we at the district are facing tough decisions, just like the city is. And the thing to do is not to be in competition with the city, but to be in cooperation with the city as we move forward, because we share the same values of protecting our city and protecting our public education and having terrific schools. And with that in mind, I believe and I am hopeful that we will have a positive relationship as we move along. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, and congratulations. Next item, please.
Next item would be recognition of other school officials, family, and friends present.
Are there any other officials who were not involved in the election cycle that we can recognize? None? None here. Next item, please.
Next item is comments by outgoing council members.
Okay. Mr. Draymond?
We seem to only have one of those, Mr. Mayor. Well, thank you. A couple of things. I have some comments to make, but a couple of comments I've wanted to make over the years that I haven't had the opportunity to make. Now, about this theme music that you all play, the opening of our meetings. Now, I happen to be one of those people that remember TV themes, and I happen to know that was stolen from the Channel 5 News. They haven't used it in many, many years, but That's the old Channel 5 news theme, just FYI. Just want you to know, Mr. City Manager, they may come after you. So, the other thing is, in 2004, 2005, was the first I had been to council meetings where I had watched then council member and soon to be again council member Rafi Manoukian on this dais, but we hadn't actually met formally until about 2004, 2005, and we were having some difficulties up in the Montrose area and needed some assistance. We were busily trying to grow and expand business there, and we needed help from our mayor, and he showed up, and as means of thanking him, I came to this podium in 2005. He's smiling at me right now, by the way. I think he may know where I'm going with this. In 2005, and to thank him, I presented him with a pair of boxing gloves from the podium with the word, "Keep up the good fight." His response was, "My goodness, I came to Montrose bearing olive branches, and you come here to bring me boxing gloves." Well, I think people thought in 2007, when I was elected, that somehow there was some rift between Mr. Manoukian and I, and that was not the case. We have been very friendly and have been friendly. And when I took my first day in my new office here at the city, he had left those boxing gloves for me, saying, "Keep up the good fight." Well, Rafi, I have them here for you, and so that no one gets the wrong idea or misconstrues, really, it's the same message that you gave me, which is keep up the good fight, and I'll present those to you in a moment. A couple of other little things. I'm taking up a bit of your time in case you hadn't noticed, but on my way in, some dear friends gave me a little Tupperware tub of some Passover matzah. I just want you to know that the idea of Passover tonight, especially, wasn't lost on me. So, anyway. Now, Mr. Mayor, my colleagues on the council, and Mr. City Manager and City Attorney, we have seen a few cycles go by where the outgoing council member, whoever that was at the time, didn't come to this meeting. And I think that's wrong. And although I understand it, believe me, it's very difficult on this day to come here and you're sort of like a ghost. You're yesterday's news, and you're around all of your colleagues that are trying to work past you without acting like they're working past you. So when I came in to the office this morning, I was immediately stripped of my parking pass, my BlackBerry, and I had to flee while I still had my clothes. But I didn't want to miss this meeting, and I, for no other reason, then, Mr. Mayor, I have not missed a single council meeting in the time since I have been elected. And so I, by gosh, was not going to miss this one. Let me give you a couple of election statistics that I think are interesting, because this was a very interesting election. As the city clerk pointed out, a high voter turnout. But and he's right, we can always do better. But in the last 36 years, well, let me start with this. Mr. Manoukian, are you aware that with your winning vote tally, which was, Mr. City Clerk, 10,000?
It was over 10,000. I do
Yes.
not have the exact number in front of me.
Well, let me put it. Let me share this.
10,560.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, 10,000. This is how rumors get started, by the way. 10,197. We were looking at the winning vote.
10,000 what?
197.
Okay. Let me tell you how historic that number is, because I'm a wonk on this kind of stuff, and not too many people would be interested, but I have to tell you, you have to go back to 1975 to find someone who has turned those kind of numbers in this city. And that deserves a big round of applause. have to go back to Carl Messick in 1975 to see that number. And this will be only the third time in the last almost 4 decades that anyone has broken that 10,000 benchmark, if you will. Here's the interesting thing for me. Of course, it doesn't help me retain my seat, but in the last, since 1975, well, let me tell you what the irony is for me. I have lost this election with more votes, having won more votes, than anybody. I've lost this election with more votes than anybody has won a seat on this dais in the last 40 years, including the numbers I posted in 2007. So put another way, until this election, you have to go back to more than almost 4 decades to find a council candidate who won a seat with more votes than I lost this seat with. So I don't feel so bad. I feel like I was in good company with about almost 10,000 other people out there. All right. So much for the off-the-cuff stuff, and let me get to the stuff I wrote, because some of it I said before on this dais, but I want to get to it because it's tough and it has meaning to me, and I hope it does to you. I want to thank all of you tonight for your support and, of course, for your participation in the betterment of this wonderful, dynamic, and vibrant city. For the last 4 years, I have started my comments at speaking engagements as an elected official all over this city with the very same words. It is a pleasure to be here. It is a privilege to serve as an elected official from the city of Glendale, and an honor to do so as your city council member. To my fellow council members, Mr. Weaver, Mayor Najarian, Mr. Quintero, and Ms. Friedman, I thank you for honoring me with your confidence over the last 4 years in my ability to advocate and to innovate on behalf of this city. And I thank you for your dedicated service to our constituents, your belief in an open process of debate, and for your willingness to tackle any topic, no matter how politically uncomfortable, how politically or personally difficult or taboo. That takes courage in an elected official. That takes strength of character, and I applaud you all. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to have had the honor of serving this city both as a council member and a mayor at this time in our city's history. In Glendale and in cities across the nation, we are increasingly facing the difficult task of providing essential services to our residents and business community while making the challenging economic adjustments necessary to keep Glendale competitive, to maintain a quality of life we can all be proud of, to keep our community safe, and in short, to keep faith with those who live in our city and work here, children go to our Glendale schools, and who reinvest their time and energy and resources in their neighborhoods every day simply to build a better life for themselves and their families. To these people, our neighbors, let us continue to pledge our collective advocacy, as I've said on the campaign trail so many times, not because it's the politically expedient thing to do, but because it's the right and fair and decent thing for all elected officials to do. We do not sit on this dais tonight with our successes over the years, whatever we might imagine them to be, or our struggles, or our debates over public policy, or our opinion as to what our city represents, or our vision of what Glendale can or should be in the future. As an elected official, I have been, as each of you are, a part of the arc of our city's history. We stand in good company with those who came before us. They met the challenges of their day and crafted our city's traditions, and they have left them to us as their legacy, a civic heritage of thoughtful and courageous vision. You, as citizens, supporters, and partners have given me as much encouragement as any civic leader could ever hope for. And it has been a strong partnership. We have seen positive movement on so many levels. And yet Glendale has not reached the limits of its greatness. Our city, with its historical roots, the strength of our diversity, the beauty of our mountains and canyons, the blossoming of artistic and cultural creativity, the dynamism of our business community, and the sheer energy of our people coalesce to make Glendale a unique and formidable city with a truly unlimited potential. The strength of our city lies in its tradition of caring for those in need. It lies in its tradition of providing needed services reliably and dependably. It lies in our ability to meet new challenges on behalf of our citizens, to feed their imaginations, their creativity, their educational needs, to facilitate their entrepreneurial spirit. In short, the strength of our city lies in our desire to keep pace and keep faith with our citizens, to afford them the best possible quality of life we're able. Let me share this final observation with you about Glendale's future. If this election did not show it, then nothing will. Nothing is inevitable. And Glendale has always taken its own path. This is not to diminish the cruelty of a very difficult economy, but we will continue to attack our city's problems in the way Glendale has always reacted to difficult times. We fight back. We take pride in what we do right and cast aside what doesn't work and seek a new direction. We reach out to those in our neighborhoods who are in trouble, and we make their problems ours. We carry the message that Glendale is a community in good times and in bad. It has been said of those in elected office that time slips away, stealing our plans, erasing our words, ridiculing our urgency. We struggle to complete the task in our allotted time. Inevitably, however, as we peel back one layer of need, there is another. A great city, and make no mistake, Glendale is a great city, has many needs, but it affords all of us many blessings. So as my time on this dais ends, let me suggest to you that as elected officials, city staff, as advocates and community leaders, we are judged not by what we did not accomplish, but by what we were able to achieve together. So I hope each of you takes pride in your individual role, past, present, and future in the arc of our local history. Glendale is a big, successful, prosperous city with the most promising of futures. And there is one other thing, this added bonus. We care for each other, and we strive to live in harmony. We work as friends and as neighbors with united purpose. And when visitors come to Glendale, invariably, they want to live here. And those of us who live here are glad we do. I thank you for allowing me this time to have served you over the last 4 years. Thank you. I wish you God's blessings. And I wish the new council all God's speed and great success. Thank you.
And the next item is a recess. We will briefly recess so we can move on to the next item.
Mr. Mayor, for how long of a duration? 1 minute?
I guess a chance for anyone who might want to switch seats, or those seating.
Like me and Mr. Manoukian?
Want to give a... Are there any seniors in the room that really need a seat at this point? It won't be a much longer meeting, but if anyone would like to request a seat, we'll try and accommodate them. I know there are about 20 of you standing out there. If everyone's okay there? Everyone's okay?
If there's no need for a recess, we can just move
Okay,
on
then
to
we
the oath
will,
of office.
unless there's we'll let the young lady be seated.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the next
All
item.
right. Next item is the oath of office to the newly elected city officers. If Councilmember-elect Manukian and Councilmember Weaver can please meet me at the podium, we will administer the oath of office. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your names.
Dave Weaver,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the State of California,
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic.
that I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
the Constitution of the State of California.
that I take this obligation freely
Take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
and I will well
and faithfully discharge
faithfully discharge
the duties upon which
the duties upon which
I am about to enter.
I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
I thought you gentlemen would have known that oath by heart.
It's hard to even repeat it. Shall we, Mr. Clerk,
Let's see now.
shall we take our seats?
Yes, new council,
The new council may be seated
please
now.
be seated. The next item are comments by our newly elected officials. Mr. Weaver?
First?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I guess I won't say much. I will thank very much my wife of almost 43 years, who I wouldn't even won the first time without her allegiance and support. She didn't want me to run this time, but I talked my way into it. I don't know why. She should have won probably. And my friends, supporters, I was 97 votes shy of the 10,000 mark. I thank all those people that had confidence in me again to do my best. This afternoon during the mayor's goodbye party, it was brought up that I was going to end up being the longest-serving councilman in Glendale's history, to which Larry Zarian declared he will be running for city council in 2 years to get 20. So stand by, folks. Larry's back in the game again. But I don't want to say much more than that, other than to say from a line from James Cagney and the Yankee Doodle Dandy movie, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, and I thank you. Thank you.
Councilman Manukian.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you all for attending tonight. I would like to. Zovig is on a plane tonight. My spouse. Everybody knows Zovig. She's going to Armenia with my children, with two of my children, with the school, with Shamlian School. And she could not be here today. However, she wanted to make sure that what I was about to say first
was what she would want me to say. Therefore, and she sent me a text from the airport saying, don't forget to glorify God first before people. So, therefore, I will thank God for our success and thank her for her vigilance. She was the cornerstone of our campaign. She was the campaign manager. She was a mom. She was everything, and I love her dearly for what she did and the trouble she went through on a daily basis. And she's my soulmate, and I love her dearly for I can't say how much. So there. She was wonderful. I would also like to thank Councilmember Draymond for his kind words, for his vision to this for the city, and wish him the best of journey, best of luck. And I know that Glendale politics will never be the same, and I know that we will see him again in the political circles of the city of Glendale. And I wish him all the best from the bottom of my heart. I'd like to take a few minutes to thank the individuals and organizations that really came through for me during the campaign. First of all, my parents, Oanis and Victoria Mnuchin, who have been supportive of me all my life. Without them, I wouldn't be here. I would also like to thank the U.S. Armenia Television Organization, my colleagues, some of whom are here, for their Herculean effort to get out the vote on the last few days and through their support throughout the campaign. I would like to go through some names of individuals that were supporters. Garo Ghazarian, Edwin Minassian, Vikan Simonian, Jackie Boyajian, Vache Kamakian, Timmy Marderosian, Savi Tufenkian, Varuj Keosian, and Dr. Karamanugyan, as well as my wife's cousins, Panos and Vasken Haitan, the Haitan family, as well as the Sepetian family. Sepetian is the maiden name of my spouse, so the Sepetian family. The Armenian Rights Council of America for their early endorsement, the Glendale Realtors for their endorsement. I would like to also mention my campaign team, my brother Nigel Nigol Manoukian. Nigol, thank you very much for your effort. I would especially like to thank Lynn, his spouse, for letting us have him for a couple of months. Thank you very much, Lynn. And he's done a wonderful job. He's been through all my campaigns from the day that I remember, and he's been there for me, continues to be there for me every time I ask him. So thank you very much. I would also like to thank my other brothers, Rostom Manugyan, his wife, Mary, and Razmik and Arlene, and all their families for their support. My sister-in-law, Shalik Sepetian, who was the co-campaign manager. She was the driver behind the organization. She is the most organized individual that I know. And she had little flags on all of Glendale after all the calls that were made to that area. So we knew exactly who called whose house when. So it was wonderful working with you. You have my love. Thank you very much. And I want to thank your husband. She's just getting to reacquaint herself with her family. So I want to thank Vaskan and the kids for letting us have her as well. I would like to thank Dalida Kirolian for her support throughout the years. Since 1999, from my first campaign, she was part of the team. She's still part of the team, and she continues to be part of the team. So thank you very much for everything you've done. I would also like to thank good family friends, Sharon Giragosian and her talented son, Alec Giragosian. The ladies who were on the phones, what seemed like an eternity, Gohar, Ani, Julia, Erna, Romy, and of course, Taline. Thank you very much for all the hard work. I know some days were very long, but I truly appreciate your efforts. I know it came from the heart, and that's what's important. I am truly humbled by our success and the response we have received from the community. I would like to thank all the voters who participated in these elections, and I mean all the voters. I would like to remind the leadership of the City of Glendale that we are elected to represent the community as a whole, regardless of how the votes went, and I pledge to do so. This election was a difficult election, and there were a number of instances, emails, comments that were made that were not proper. However, I try to stay above all of that, and I believe the community has spoken loud and clear, and the community is saying, stop all of that and take care of the city's finances, and that's what I will tackle, and that's what I will do, including the issues of overtime and employee P cards, as well as electric and water rates. I do expect a monthly report on our finances in the format that is understandable by everyone. And I do want to initiate performance indicators for all the departments. We also need finally to deal with the hillside ordinance so that next time the economy goes into overdrive, we do not have to deal with the issues we faced before this recession. Everyone needs to know what the rules are, and the rules need to be concise and understandable. I believe that everyone should be accountable to the taxpayers, not just the elected officials during election. The operations of the city should be completely transparent, and all documents and records should be readily available to the public. I have said during the campaign that I would have my calendar public so that everyone will know who I'm meeting with, and all the documents that are in my possession will be available to the public within the bounds of legality. This week I will have my interactive calendar on my newly published website, manukian.us. You will have to sign in and give your email, of course, to access the calendar, but everyone will be able to access it. I would also like to thank one more person. I would like to thank Shai Kirolian, actually. Shai, thank you very much. Before I finish my comments, I would like to thank him for his ethical approach to this election. He as well stayed above the fray and did what he believed is right, and he called for unity in the community. And I knew him before, and I did not know him as well. And I can tell you this much, that at this time I do consider him a friend, and I do consider him an ethical person. So Shai, thank you very much for your approach. Finally, let me emphasize that I am beholden to no one, to no organization, and I will do what I believe to be right with a lot of help from the community, and I encourage the public to come and speak during council hearings. After all, what is democracy without public discourse? Thank you all. I look forward to working with all my colleagues, and God bless America, and God bless the City of Glendale. Thank you very much. And I will cherish these boxing gloves until I have to hand them over to you again.
Thank you, Councilmember Manukian. Next item, please.
The next item is Mayor Najarian, your parting comments.
Parting?
Not parting as your last comments as mayor for now.
Has it been a year?
Yes, it has. A long one.
Has it been a year, folks? You know, sometimes it seems like it was just yesterday that I was selected to be mayor. Other days it seems as though I had been mayor for a lifetime. But through it all, it has certainly been my honor and my privilege to serve as mayor for this past year, along with my dedicated colleagues Dave Weaver, Councilmember Laura Friedman, Councilmember Frank Quintero, and Councilmember John Draymond. We really worked hard up here, and we dealt with a lot of tough issues. And what you saw was a city council that worked. And we did not always agree with each other. We went at it sometimes quite vociferously, not just colleagues, but against staff too. Remember that whole gate incident? We really, we were able to speak our minds, to challenge each other's positions, At the end of the day, the council made a decision, we voted, and that is the will of the council. We moved on. We're still friends, right, Hassan, after all that? Okay, good, because it was very interesting to see that. Now, in the past year, anyone who's been paying attention knows that we've been focusing most of our efforts on dealing with the financial and the economic crisis. And almost every week that went by, there was a serious financial issue that we were trying to deal with. As you know, our budget is shrinking and continues to shrink due to the lagging sales tax revenues and the lagging property tax revenues. The problem is, how do you adjust your budget with those shrinking revenues? What we don't want to do is to shock the community by cutting back on services that are so important to you. And in that resolve, we have worked hard to find savings. We have consolidated departments, streamlined our divisions, and incorporated economies and efficiencies wherever possible. And we have a hard hiring freeze. That means that we're not hiring anyone else, and as employees retire, they start to fall off the payroll, and our budget starts to shrink. We are asking more and more from our employees. We will be asking more and more from our employees, and they are stepping up to the task to giving it, because they are as dedicated to the city of Glendale as your elected officials are. The bad news is we're not out of this 2-year economic recession. We may be going into our 3rd year, maybe our 4th year. So we're going to have another tough budget cycle ahead of us. And you can be sure that the council will be working very hard to preserve our core services, to preserve our quality of life, at the same time being a responsible agency with a limited budget. We had some fun. We really had some fun. Some of it was a lot of the travel that went on. Several of us traveled to Korea, to Washington, D.C. We went to Korea, to Seoul, Korea. We met the governor of the Gyeonggi province, Chang Lee, and myself. I think Chang Lee is in the room. There he is. And that was such a big hit that Gunhai Park, one of the most popular political figures in Korea, wanted a meeting, and we told them all about Glendale, and they were very excited about the city of Glendale. They had heard a little bit about us. We told them about the vibrant cultural diversity we have, especially for them, their Korean community. The governor was here at this dais. We gave him a proclamation, created a day for him, and that resounded throughout Korea. I guess that's never been done before. They're a little bit more reserved in offering days to elected officials, but that was very exciting. And one of those 2 individuals is going to be the next president of the Republic of Korea. That's a very exciting prospect for us. As you know, we're working on our arts and entertainment district, the creative corridor. We're working hard on traffic issues and safety issues and pedestrian issues. We'll have some of that actually tomorrow coming up. We've taken a bold stand against the 710 tunnel. I can't tell you how brave a stand that is. It's a stand that most of the county is in favor of. They're in favor of that tunnel. And it's through cities like Glendale stepping into the arena of common sense that is giving everyone else in the county just a pause to think and say, well, if Glendale is against this, maybe we should rethink our position. Now, we haven't won them over yet. It's still a long fight, but we're hoping that we can really make some sense in our transportation issues and have Glendale really be the spearhead and the leader in bringing sustainable transportation policy to the entire county. I'm probably boring you by now, but we have a great video that has been aired previously. It's only about 3 or 4 minutes. The crew at GTV6 and Tom Lorenz, Vicki Gardner, Tor and Rob put it together. And if they have it queued up, it's just about a 3-minute video. I think it'd be interesting for us to see what we've done in the past year and where we're going in Glendale.
From the peaks of the Verdugos down to the LA River, Glendale is a bright, dynamic community, more than earning its Jewel City nickname. Follow us on a whirlwind tour of some of the city's major accomplishments this past year. Glendale's parklands have undergone a rebirth. A resourceful and well-managed capital improvement program provided for the rehabilitation of Cedar Heritage Park, including an on-site restoration of the original historic Craftsman Bungalow. Thanks to grant funding, the Le Mesneger Barn in Duke-Majan Wilderness Park is being restored and will soon house a nature center for youth and adults. And thanks also to the efforts of dozens of community volunteers, the park itself was reopened less than 1 year after the disastrous station fire. With the help of redevelopment agency funding, a new crown jewel has brightened the park inventory. The Adult Recreation Center opened last August with much fanfare, providing the latest and best in services, programs, and recreation to our senior population. Plus, all of Glendale is eagerly awaiting splashdown of the city's new Pacific Park pool, on track to open June 1st of this year. Both of these projects were achieved through a lengthy design process, which encouraged and utilized input from Glendale residents of all ages. And on to marketing our Jewel City. Each year, Community Services and Parks draws almost 50,000 visitors to the city with its annual Cruise Night Car Show and Street Party. In 2010, Glendale earned a spot in the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest crowd ever to twist along with Chubby Checker. Encouraging local businesses to grow and attracting new companies to our city are the main priorities of the Community Development Department. In contrast to much of the nation, business expansion is happening in our city. GC3, the Disney Campus Phase 2, is underway. And an exciting new mixed-use development of commercial and residential Broadway lofts got off to an explosive start on the site of the former Circuit City location. Trader Joe's will provide a much-needed West Anchor retailer in Montrose. And in South Glendale, the Brand Boulevard of Cars continues its expansion and revitalization with the renovation of the CalStar Mercedes-Benz dealership. Glendale is continually working to increase its housing inventory for low to moderate income families. The addition of Kenwood Homes and a recent groundbreaking of the Geneva Street Homes have earned Glendale a #1 ranking among neighboring communities with respect to its joint partnership with the San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity. Doran Gardens is another example. This 60-unit project features new Craftsman-style condos, plus the restoration of 3 original California bungalows on the property, all of which will be sold to first-time home buyers. But with this growth comes a big responsibility: to upgrade our infrastructure and maintain exceptional services for our community. To this end, Glendale's Public Works Department recently hosted a grand opening of the long-awaited Fairmont Bridge, providing a new access route to the city's industrial area and improving traffic flow for residents and business travelers. Police and Public Works have joint ventured a pedestrian safety campaign, including the addition of flashing light crosswalks, directional signs on the streets, and new electronic message boards. The police department has even gone one step further by sending volunteers into the community to help educate our non-English speaking population about the need to remain vigilant while crossing streets. The department is also engaged in joint law enforcement efforts with our neighbors, Burbank and Pasadena, including shared air support, improving public safety, and realizing cost efficiencies. A new aerial ladder truck has been added to the vehicle inventory for Glendale Fire, and the department has added 2 levels to its emergency transport system. The Regional Training Center in Shoal Canyon has a new training device for containing hazardous leaks and is being utilized by neighboring communities for training purposes. Finally, none of us can forget the heroic efforts of our department during the station fire 18 months ago. Their vigilance, bravery, and training saved countless homes from destruction. Glendale Water and Power is on the cutting edge of technology in many areas. The research underway at the Chromium-6 treatment plant and research facility will benefit cities across the country in their efforts to clean up groundwater supplies. The Chevy Chase Reservoir, now totally renovated, was opened last summer after a 2-year upgrade. It now provides a safety net of 15 million gallons of clean, potable water for our community. And last, but certainly not least, The Glendale Public Library is planning for its future through renovations to historic Brand Library and Art Center. The library recently celebrated its 60th episode of the popular Treehouse Tales series for its younger patrons and is helping to serve the city's non-English speaking clientele with an outreach coordinator. The Central Library is being promoted as a family place, focusing on the importance of early learning by offering a number of child-related programs. Glendale is an economically sound, vital, and safe community. A city that attracts visitors, businesses, and residents by providing a wealth of opportunities. We are Glendale.
It was a fantastic year. It really was a fantastic nonstop year, but through it all, I just tried to keep a few principles first and foremost. Number one was to maintain the dignity and the respect for the office of the mayor, to try and represent the city with honor in all the regional boards and commissions that I was a member of, to try to be a good example for our youth, and to respect the community as I expect them to respect myself and my colleagues. My colleagues and I will work together to achieve what we feel is best for the city of Glendale. And when I say the city of Glendale, I mean the entire city of Glendale. Not one group, not one union, not one ethnicity, not one neighborhood. We are a city that has banded together, piece by piece. Now, I had this sitting in my office all year, and I never really took a good look at it. This is the city of Glendale. We are a group, and what this is each different color is a neighborhood that eventually voted for and decided to join the city as one. Every single color voted to join the city. We are truly a united group of neighborhoods. We all make up the city of Glendale, and that's the way we have to be. We came together to fight the challenges. In some areas, it was a challenge of water. In some areas, it was a challenge of growth. In some areas, it was a challenge of public services and public works. But we all came together at different times, in different neighborhoods, but we're all together now. And that's the way we have to think. We're not just the North. We're not the far North, with all due respect. We're not Adams Hill. We're not the Canyons. We're not Northwest. We are all the city of Glendale. And we're not Armenians. We're not Latinos. We're not Koreans. We're not Filipinos. We're not Anglos. We are all Glendalians. And that's the way we need to go forward. And I'm sure that when we keep that... When we just keep that in mind and realize that by pulling together, we can solve our problems, our budget problems, our issues of public safety, our issues of fire, our issues of public works, we can solve any problem. Now, put my prop away. Thank you, Mr. Mnuchin. I'm very sad to see John Draymond step down. John and I were friends. Sometimes I felt we were on opposite sides of debate teams. We would go at it. There would be jokes on council that only he and I would get, and he'd look at me and I'd look at him, and some crazy reference to some historical or literary work, and I'm going to really miss John. I'm excited to have Rafi Mnuchin back. Rafi showed me the ropes 6 years ago when I was elected to council, and I appreciate all his hard work. He's going to be a great council member. And Dave Weaver, what can I say about Dave Weaver?
Nothing.
George, he's the George Blanda of the Glendale City Council. He is a permanent fixture, and Dave, I appreciate your patience with me. There isn't probably a meeting that goes by that I lay a zinger over at you, like being the civil, on the engineering corps, or being here for so long, your forest lawn, or whatever. So I appreciate your good sportsmanship, and I appreciate your input.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, that's enough. The torch is going to be passed. Let's continue to work hard to make Glendale a better city tomorrow than it is today. Thank you. The next item.
Next item is appointment of the new mayor, and at this point, the meeting is turned over to me. So the business before the council is the selection of a mayor. The chair, which is me, will now entertain nominations for that office.
Mr. Kasakian.
Yes.
I would like to nominate Councilwoman Laura Friedman.
No seconds are required, am I correct?
Oh, not for nominations.
I would have seconded that had one been required, but
Are there any other nominations?
move to close nominations, Mr. Chair.
All right, well, hearing no further nominations, we will proceed with the roll call. I can either, doesn't seem like there's anyone else, but I will read your names, and you can say aye or nay or yes or no. Councilmember Friedman.
Well, let me just say that I've said no the last 2 years when I was nominated. This year I will say yes.
Councilmember Manukian.
Yes.
Councilmember Najarian.
Yes.
Councilmember Quintero.
Yes.
Councilmember Weaver.
Aye.
I now declare Councilmember Friedman the duly elected mayor of the city of Glendale.
I am extremely humbled by this honor. This is the second proudest day of my entire life. My most proudest day was when my husband Guillaume took me to be his bride. He has been for me the source of my support, of my strength, my security. I love you, Guillaume, and I thank you for all that you do for me each and every day. I am very proud of the trust that the people in Glendale have placed in me, and I promise never to betray that faith. I am grateful to my colleagues and supporters for their belief in me, for their friendship, and their guidance. I'm always appreciative of Mr. Weaver's experience, but mostly I'm in awe of his honesty and his frankness in expressing his opinion, even when it's an unpopular opinion. Mr. Najarian has been for me an incredible example of how to run a meeting with grace and fairness to everybody involved, and to be eternally patient in his role of mayor. I hope that I can fill his footsteps. And I'm looking forward very much to working with Mr. Manukian as he brings a very unique perspective to this body. And while it's very sad to see Mr. Draymond leave, he has left an amazing mark on this city, with his focus on downtown development, on the far north part of Glendale, on the well-being of local businesses, and on his love for Glendale and its rich history. He was the first council member that I can remember seeing acknowledge that the arts are not only crucial for our quality of life in Glendale, but also for the economic vitality of this city. He will be missed. I take this new role of mayor very seriously. Glendale has spent the last few years weathering one of the worst recessions in our nation's history, and we're not out of the water yet. Recessionary pressures continue to deplete the city's budget at a time when many of our citizens need help from the city more than ever. I know the upcoming budget process will show that this is going to be a difficult year for Glendale. Not all the programs and services that we've come to expect are going to survive this year. But it's my goal to do whatever we can to maintain our citizens' quality of life while ensuring that the needs of the most vulnerable members of our community, people who are usually silent in front of this body, continue to be a focus of government. And as a community, we need to work to overcome prejudice in all its ugly forms and to promote racial and ethnic understanding and tolerance. Glendale is a far richer city because of its ethnic diversity. And this diversity should always be a source of celebration and never a source of conflict. And I'll do my best as mayor to foster healing and togetherness as we move forward through this year. I sincerely hope that having a woman serve as mayor after these many, many years will help show women and girls that there is a place for them in leadership roles. I'm very proud of what this council has accomplished in the last few years. The new incentive programs to attract and retain businesses in the San Fernando Creative Corridor has already had early notable successes. In a time when most communities are struggling with empty storefronts and blight, we have a boom of investment in our downtown, and for that we should all be proud. We finally have historic districts with more in the process. Incompatible development in our neighborhoods is becoming increasingly rare as the design review board process and neighborhood design guidelines give property owners more certainty while helping maintain the individual fabric of our neighborhoods. Our focus must always be on the road ahead, and let me assure you that my decisions will always be guided by the principle of fairness, the Constitution of the United States, and my own judgment of what's best for the people of Glendale. Again, I thank you all for your trust, and I look forward to serving as your mayor. What is next, please?
There's no other comments or motion?
You know what,
I'm very sorry. I have my first role as mayor, one which I am very proud to fulfill, which is to present to Mr. Najarian this beautiful plaque and gavel in appreciation for your distinguished leadership of mayor of Glendale from April of 2010 to April of 2011.
Ms. Mayor, I haven't had a chance to speak, and I'll be, it's anticlimactic after everything that's taken place, but I wanted to say a few words. Start by thanking Mr. Draymond for the hard work. He certainly did work hard these past 4 years, and I think we've accomplished a lot. And congratulate Mr. Weaver, congratulate Mr. Manukian. Looking forward to serving with Mr. Manukian, just seeing his wonderful family here again. Makes me feel real good. We've known each other for a long time. I guess about 6 weeks ago I was looking through pictures, and there was a picture of me and Rafi Manukian. Man, we had a lot of hair. So it was it was a long time ago. I think it was maybe 20 plus years ago. But anyway, it's great to have him back, and I think we're going to accomplish a lot in the next few years. So thank you very much.
I would like to congratulate Madam Mayor for taking on the role at this point. I think it's great. I've seen your work over the past few years, and I look forward to working with you as mayor.
Thank
So
you.
Congratulations.
It's very nice to have another iPad user up here as
Yes.
well. Thank you. If there are no other comments, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned.